When I was making the experience and getting one revelation after another, some nights I couldn't take it all in. And I would just say, please stop. Just stop for some time. Let me digest this. And it did. This voice, for want of a better word, just stopped. And I would spend a couple of days going over what had come to me. These revelations were just words which I wrote about in 2006. And I'll come to that when the time is right. One of the things, just one thing that I had a realization of was being alone. Up until I moved into this cell, I'd always been with people, whether it would be in barracks or in cells. I was always with people. I was never, ever alone. And one day, going through these revelations, it occurred to me that I'm on my own, and experiencing aloneness at that time for me was wonderful. I wasn't lonely, I was alone. And there's a vast difference. And I revelled in this aloneness. It was just great. Anyway, moving on. Some foreigners that I was connected to, and that's all I will say in Tihar, were going to get bail. They got arrested the same time as me. And one of them came to me this night with a bag. And in it there was a new pair of jeans, various clothes, brand new pair of Nike trainers. And he said, there you go, Steve, you can have these. And I thought, yeah, nice one, I'll keep these for when I leave. And little did I know. He also gave me a brand new 14-inch portable TV, remote control, which I never used. By that time, I wasn't that interested in TV. And shortly afterwards, this guy got his bail, and another guy who was connected also got bail. So it was happy days for these lads, And one day Lando came to the cell, gave me a pocket radio, just a small, pocket radio like. And once a day you'd get English music, if you like. Sometimes it was great, and then I think it was once a week in the evening you'd have an hour, and it could be an hour of the Rolling Stones or Pink Floyd or Jimi Hendrix, and it was all the kind of music that I liked. So I was very happy to have this radio, Didn't use it often, but it was nice just to have a change. Most nights in this cell, a rat would come. Never come into the inside part of the cell. He was only going to the outside part of the cell, and there was nothing out there apart from a couple of buckets with water in. But I'd see him from time to time, and that was okay. I had no problem with this rat at all. Going through these revelations one night, I was seriously wasted, that's all I can say. And the voice came, and it just said, write a song about Reiki. So I got a pen and a pad, and I just started writing, In the morning, I'd forgotten all about this, and it was later on I picked up my pad and I thought, oh yeah, I wrote this last night. And it was lovely. The words that I wrote, for me, they were lovely. So I looked at this and I started to work out a few chords for it, and I did this song called The Power of Reiki. Going on from this, a few weeks later, I was in my cell, and TNB come in, made a spliff, and I was sat at the back, and I said, hey, have a listen to this. So I played this song, and as I was playing it, he looked at me and he went, Jesus, Steve. He said, there's like a big light all around you. And I'm just sat at the back of the cell, you know, just playing this. And I said, yeah, he said, there's this light all around you. He said, what the fuck's going on? I said, who knows, who knows? All these kind of things were like unexplainable. One morning, TMB come into my cell. We were having out chai. He was making a joint. And all of a sudden, 3 drops of water came down from the ceiling and onto this blanket I had. And the blanket was red because I'd nicked it from the hospital. And you could see these stains. So I looked up, and of course, you know, the ceiling is bone dry. There was no condensation. We hadn't had rain for months. And he said, where does this come from? And I says, I've no idea, man. No idea. And to this day, I have no idea. All I know is it was 3 drops. Later on that morning, about an hour or so later, I was doing exercise. At this time, I was into doing sit-ups. I was starting to do basic yoga. And the radio that Lando gave me, it was hanging on the wall on a string, just hanging on the wall. And all of a sudden, the radio started moving. It was swinging, just like that. Why? I don't know. There was no wind. I mean, I'm in the inner part of this cell. And yet this radio was just doing that. You know, what can I say? I was walking over to see Chris. No, sorry, I was walking back from seeing Chris this day, the Frenchman from the Vipassana ward. And as I'm walking up the road, I see a coin on the floor. Now, you know, you don't see money like that, you know. And it was like a 5 paisa coin, you know, just a little coin. And I thought, this thought came to me straight away. I'm going to make a Ouija board. And I gets back to my cell. Anyway, I spend hours with this coin, just rubbing it on the concrete floor where I sleep. Just taking the edge off and making it really smooth and flat. And I made a Ouija board. And yes, I got some mad things from it, and I'll say no more on that. The next day, Chris come over. He says, Spliff, Steve? I says, yeah, man. So we were having a smoke, and he says, I've been thinking you should make a Ouija board. And I said, I've already done it, Chris. I did it yesterday. And he looked at me, he says, yeah? I went, yeah. He says, well, it's the connection that you and I have. And it was, like I've said before. Chris and I, even now, I have a very strong connection with this guy, even though he lives in the mountains of southern France. I still have this connection with this guy. He's my guru, you know, and I don't say that lightly. I don't, because he is, like I've said, he's a true master, a true teacher of all things spiritual. And I learned so much from Chris. We decided, Chris and I, that we were going to make a foundation called the Dilias Ora Foundation. Dilias being his last name. And I was going to put my bit in it about life, you know, how to, from the experience that I'd been making. and Chris was going to do like the spiritual side of things. We didn't know how we were going to do it, like, but we'd come up with this concept. And to just take this a bit further, what had happened, I spoke to my nephew Ted, who was very much into IT and all this, and I didn't know even what IT was then. And bottom line, he created a website for us, and eventually he put on the stuff that I'd done. The truth was, nothing came of it, and it died a death. But before that, Chris and I sat down, and he said, right, what are we going to do then? And I said, I'm gonna write up 10 topics that I'm going to talk about, and see how I get on. And it was left at that. Nothing more was said at the time. Come July of 2006, that's when it all changed again. And like I say, I will come to that when I get to that particular point in these videos. In November, I got mastitis again. And I thought, I'm not going to the OPD. I'm not going to take these fucking injections that killed my arms. I'm going to do it myself. And at that time, when my nephew Ted and Lee came out, I had books off them. One of the books was a book called Mudras, and in brackets, yoga in your hands. And it's just hand positions. That's all it is. Certain hand positions, blah, 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 for certain benefits. And in this book, I went through it this day, and there was a mudra for chest infections. By this time, my right breast was starting to swell up again. So for a week, 3 times a day, 10 to 15 minutes each time, I was using mudras and Reiki on this breast. And on the 7th day, it burst. And within 2 days, it was like as if nothing had happened. And that just tells me the power of mudras and Reiki. And belief, because I mean, my belief was full on, you know, I mean, that's how my mindset was. That's how my mindset is today. Nothing in that respect has changed at all. All I can say is it works, you know, it works. And there are many people that have come into my life over the years that can attest to this. Anyway, please don't forget, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, share it, and leave me comments. Thank you. Next time.